We're here at the Secret Garden Party, one of the UK's brilliant summer festivals, great outdoors near Cambridge, England. We're joined by Oliver Steeds. Oliver, despite his current appearance, having been camping for the last few days, is actually one of the great explorers of his generation, youngest member of the Royal Geographical Society. Yes, looking at you, Ollie. Ollie has starred in television programs and Discovery, Travel Channel. Ollie, one of the great themes of your work is actually marginalized populations, tribes that you've lived with everywhere from the Arctic climes to the hills of Papua New Guinea. Tell us, what is the role of these tribal populations in governance and in politics in some of the weaker states that you've worked in?
It varies obviously, but often very little. Incredibly marginalised communities. There are meant to be about 300 million tribal peoples on the planet, and they are still, as a group, probably the most marginal, the most vulnerable, the most at risk. And they have very little control over national or even regional governance issues. Mostly they're just trying to get by and sustain themselves.
And in raising awareness about them, about their culture, about their history, their languages, their survival modes, do you find that this can have a political impact on the way they are treated by their host governments?
I think there's different ways to tell stories. I mean, some of the stories we tell are about just who they are and humanising these people. It's no longer about us and them. It's just trying to understand who these people are. But I think it's the same approach with, say, the filmmakers who make films about the natural world. We have to love, we have to celebrate, we have to understand the natural world before people, everyone else, can seek to understand and then do something about it. So there's that type of filmmaking and storytelling. And the other side is when you actually take an issue and you say, all right, well, what is the issue going on here? For example, what about the Sami reindeer herders in northern Sweden? Why, in a country like Sweden, that signed up to every UN declaration, is meant to be one of the great leaders of the world on human rights issues, why are they treating their indigenous people so badly? And on those issues, yes, it does give a voice to the voiceless, and those small things can help us.
You've been spending a lot of time in China and in the North Korean border area, looking at everything from refugees to migrants to political exiles, and even the role of young people in the Chinese labor system. Can you talk a bit about those social dynamics within China and how they're going to affect the country's stability?
I think China is going through extraordinary progression, as we know, and that's one of the great headlines. But what that's happening is that when I was there a few months ago, China is pulling apart. There are cracks opening up. When those cracks open up, the weakest, the most vulnerable people can be exploited. And I was investigating how mentally impaired people are being abducted into slavery in China by particular gangs that groom them and then take them away and enslave them in brick factories and coal mines, which is a horrible, horrible thing to happen. People think there may be up to 10,000 mentally impaired people who have been abducted that way in China. So it's one of the problems where the social safety net is failing, the country is pulling apart, cracks are appearing, and in those cracks the dark forces can get to work. That's just one of so many complexities and contradictions that exist in an emerging China.
In the next couple of years, what are some of the places that you hope to not only explore but to publicize and to educate the global public on?
Well, my major focus is on the oceans. I think it is so misunderstood and not understood. And it is 71% of our planet. From space, we are the blue planet. The oceans regulate our chemistry, it regulates our climate, it produces a huge amount of oxygen that we breathe and captures carbon dioxide for us. It provides a lot of protein. And our oceans are in complete and utter collapse. We have an opportunity in the next 10, 15 years to try and do something about this. And it's going to ensure, what we need is it needs to be a combination of solutions. It needs to have public awareness about what's going on. People need to start thinking blue and understanding what the oceans really mean. But also, it needs to be political change, and we need international governance. It needs to step up. There's an opportunity there, like we saw with the CFCs. Like, international governance can step in and make a change. We have an opportunity with the oceans. It's a blank canvas. It's a blue canvas. We're not suffering from the green fatigue. We've got a new opportunity with the oceans, and I want to do something about it, contribute to that change.
Excellent. Oliver Steeds, thanks so much for joining us on FP.com.